Hi everyone, Lisa Haven here, and I just have a serious message that I want to talk to you guys about, and that's this. A lot of times I get called a fearmonger. A lot of us who talk about truth do, but the fact of the matter is there are a lot of scary things in the news and scary things happening all around us and things that aren't quite pleasant. And while I do report on both the good and the bad, unfortunately, the times in which we live today, the end times spoken of in Bible prophecy, are not exactly the prettiest on the block. And I want to explain some of those because I think a lot of times, not you guys, but others in America fail to recognize the severity of where we're at. For starters, the debt clock. We literally hit about 22 trillion with a T in debt at the end of 2018. These numbers are astronomical for any country. And the way that it's looking for us in America, we just really can't continue to thrive and prosper on a path in which we're $22 trillion in debt. Now, if we add to that the fact that China owns huge chunks of it, meaning they own Hollywood, they own some of our mainstream media, they own portions of land here in America, and I'm not talking, a democratic or, kind of society. I am talking about a full-fledged communist regime owning parts of our country here in America, a regime that's so tyrannical that they round people up and put them in re-education camps. It doesn't matter if you're a Christian, Falun Gong religion, or a Muslim. Over in China, they're putting you in these let's teach you how to be a good little citizen camps. And so this has infiltrated its way into America. I'm even saying that people in Hollywood can't even create certain shows or movies that cast China in a negative light. We are here on the brink of some pretty crazy things in our country. Our economy is very unstable, and we see, the stock market bounce up and down. And really all our congressmen and senators are doing are putting Band-Aids and removing Band-Aids. Well, at some point, it's all going to crumble. Even now, we have people such as Russia and China and other countries exiting the dollar. So bottom line is our economy is on a stable path. And if we add unstable path, and if we add to that the fact that China's got their economic arm even in America, that should be even more scary, because what kinds of principles and values are we going to be pushing on future generations if China does come full force and call up that land? Not saying that that's necessarily going to happen, just saying, why do we even allow an arm like China in our country? This is why I see a red alert, if you will, or the importance of it. This is why it is so important in our country to know what's going on. Call it fear mongering, call it whatever you like. But the truth is, it's happening, and it's happening in our generation in front of our eyes. These are some pretty crazy times. Now, if we add to that not only the economy, but that kind of sidetracks into what I was saying about China. We're going more towards a socialized country. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, even the latest one here in Arizona, Kristen Sinema, they're all socialist in disguise. And if you don't believe me, go to Project Veritas. I've got lots of stuff on it. I know most of them have already made it public, but they go under the guise of a Democrat candidate, yet at the very core, they believe in all these socialist principles: healthcare for all, education for all, taking 70% of your paycheck from us. This is the kind of principles that have ruined countries, literally destabilized countries from the inside out, and caused the countries to crumble, caused people to suffer for food, have food ration cards. And these are some serious things here in America. And I don't know about you, but I do not want to live in a socially controlled environment. And speaking of the economy could eventually lead to something like socialism here in America. They're even talking about in California UBI, Universal Basic Income. In fact, some of the California governors ran on, or governors or congresspeople, I believe, one of the two, but they ran on universal basic income values and principles, saying that that's what they were going to put forward, which is, by the way, a socialist principle, a socialist mentality. And it's just terrifying. Everyone that I know that has come from countries that are socialized are afraid of those socialized countries and do not want to bring that into America. But the fact of the matter is, I'll say it again, call it fear-mongering or call it truth. We are getting socialized every day as our country. This, again, is a red alarm, and we cannot sit here and watch our country turn inside out from the republic that it used to be into this socialist nightmare. And every day, we have more candidates on the Democratic arm pushing that agenda. Now, that's not the only things for us to worry about. What about technology? We've got technology rearing its ugly head in pretty much every country, right? And we don't really know any bounds on technology. What I mean by that is they're allowed to create anything and anything they want. We've got levels of privacy invasion unlike any time in history, worse than Hitler era. Okay, this is the invasive amount of privacy that they've crossed the line, and we're allowing it. Over and over again, just one reason I say get on a virtual private network, Virtual Shield, hidewithlisa.com, just throwing that in there. But it's very important that you have that. And right now they've got 35% off there. So go to Virtual Shield. But not just that, our privacy is being taken every day off the internet, from the mainstream media. I'm being censored. Many channels are being censored. I put a tweet on Twitter the other day where I compared Hitler to a socialist because he really was. If he called himself a Christian, he wasn't really a Christian, but he really implemented socialist-style principles, communist-style principles. And that's exactly what his regime was all about. And lo and behold, Twitter took it down. I was being negative towards Hitler, and Twitter removes the post. I mean, why? Hitler was an evil guy. Do they disagree with that? So it's interesting to see what they deem as bad and what they deem as good. And it's almost in today's day and age that what is good has become bad and what is bad has become good, and which is a biblical principle. Things have literally turned backwards. I mean, think about this. We also have people talking about having an abortion basically full term. There was even talk of the baby being born and being murdered right outside the womb. Have we crossed some moral lines here to even contemplate that at a congressional level, that we even have to, that President Trump even has to come forward and ask Congress to make it illegal to have full-term abortions? I mean, when did we get to this state? Am I a fearmonger, or am I speaking what's really happening? I don't want to ignore it, because what happens when we ignore these things is, well, they get worse. They get worse. When you don't vote and people don't vote, well, you rule, you agree with the winning class. Basically, whoever wins, that's who you've cast your vote for. This is why I'm a huge supporter of going to vote, whether you believe it counts or not. I believe our votes are between us and God put us here in this country to vote. So that is why I vote. But back to technology. We have not only the censorship and that manner, we're literally being censored online, obviously Christians, conservatives. But in addition to that, they're making weapons of mass destruction, serious weapons using technological advancements that could kill billions of people on the planet. It's not something that I believe we should just take to heart. And then we had, just the other day, I did a report on how Russia, the United States, and France did drills in which they were doing nuclear-capable missile drills, basically, around the same time. Kind of, eerily ringing bells of something that could happen in the future, like a world war. Speaking of technology, or speaking of the EMP capabilities and stuff that technology has given us, that leads me to another point: world wars. Wars in general. Wars have always been a part of society. We've known about wars for years. They're an unfortunate and disgusting part. But that's just one more thing added to the pile. Not to mention, here's another thing, the globalist attack on you and I. I'm talking pharmaceuticals being left in our waters. When people spray pesticides on the land, we're getting all of that back in our system. It's messing with our system. It's making us docile. It's making us submissive. Some of us, it's making us very hostile and angry. It just depends on it, how it affects your bodies. But all these things are not fully being filtered from our water, and fluoride's being added in, something that actually has been proven to make people docile and sterile. Chemicals being dropped via aerosol injections to save the planet, also known as chemtrails, geoengineering. I'm talking about, strontium, barium, and aluminum. These things dropping on our skin. GMOs, they're actually modifying and monstering our food. That's what you've created. When you put things together and mix that DNA of the item, it's a monster. It's a new thing that we've never experienced before. And we're eating things that cause tumors in mice. Not to mention the telephones. We have our heads being radiated. Make sure you get a shield on your phone, but we're being radiated. And now they're talking about putting in a 5G network, which, by the way, is 100 times stronger than 3G and 4G. Imagine the amount of radiation coming at our heads then. Scientists are sending up warning after warning. So, do I ignore this stuff? Do I continue to report on it despite what's going on? I'd rather know about what's happening in our world, because one day, in all honesty, it's going to catch up to us. It's going to catch up to us. Maybe in 30 years, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 50 years, who knows? But at some point, it's either going to catch up to us health-wise. It's going to catch up to us when we find ourselves in a socialized communist system. It's going to catch up to ourselves when globalists rule America. And my reason to do what I do and to be the journalist I am is to tell the truth, get the real information out, and hopefully prevent tyranny from ruling America, prevent our bodies from being so bogged down with health issues that they've pushed on society. Teaching others like you and myself to take precautions and things that you can do with your health, with your privacy. That's why I do what I do. I don't want globalism to rule America, and I don't think you want that either. We want freedom to rise and freedom to rule. So make sure you get politically involved. Make sure you contact your congressmen and senators. Make sure you help support the congressmen who support your values and your beliefs. And make sure you get protected and start standing against legislation that stands against our freedom. Anyhow, I'd love to hear your thoughts, comments, and concerns. Just thought I'd share all that with you. And please don't forget to check out Virtual Shield at hidewithlisa.com. Right now, it is 35% off of that VPN that helps hide what you do on the internet. Well, I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.